Well, let's go to the hotline because it's Tuesday.
TUESWAYS.
And that means we are joined by the Hall of Famer himself. You can hear him on the horn in Austin every weekday morning and, of course, see him on the Emmy Award-winning High School Scoreboard Live. He's back for another season. He's the great Craig Way. Craig, it's good to talk to you, buddy.
Happy season. And, Pickle, did I hear you say that Shahan missed his opportunity if he didn't punch Tepper going out the door?
Dude, I tried to convince him.
It's
a missed opportunity.
I don't love this. I don't love the direction of this conversation. Craig, let me ask you a question that you probably haven't been asked since you were in grade school, but what did you do on your summer vacation?
Well, a little bit of everything. There was a wedding to go to in Lake Tahoe. Mm-hmm. There was a Billy Joel concert at Fenway Park. There was a trip to Myrtle Beach, and it was all in 1 week span. Those three things happened in 1 week. And then even as I speak to you right now, my fiance, with whom you're well acquainted, Linda, and I are actually back in Myrtle Beach because we had to come for about a 24-hour trip to meet with people who run the venue where our wedding will take place next July. Breaking this news for the first time, July 10th, 2022, Craig Way wedding at Myrtle Beach.
Whoa!
Look at that! Congratulations!
We need the breaking news sounder for this one. Well, okay, then I won't keep you long since you're on vacation. But
that's okay.
Let's talk a little bit about high school football specifically. You know, your expertise really lies, especially down there in your hometown of Austin, and I think there's a lot of intrigue around Westlake this year. The number one team in Dave Campbell's Texas football, of course, the back-to-back defending state champs there in Class 6A. But the news comes down late in the offseason that this will be the final year for Todd Dodge there at Westlake as he's going to retire after the season. In your conversations in and around that program, have you gauged any sort of way that this is going to impact the season, if at all? Is it a rallying point? Is it something people are talking about, or is it business as usual there in Westlake?
Yeah, that usually seems to be the Westlake way of doing things, business as usual. And by the way, the vacation already happened. We just had to fly here for 24 hours. This morning alone, Tap, had 4 conference calls there with Kirk Martin at Colleyville Heritage, obviously, and Mike Alexander Grapevine, since that's our Texas Football Days telecast Friday. And I'm also calling the Taco Shack Bowl for Loco TV in Austin on Thursday, McCallum and Anderson. So I had conference calls with those 2 coaches, Roderick Thompson, the interim head coach at Anderson, and Tom Gammerdinger, the head coach at McCallum. So I'm fully invested and thrust right back into the high school football scene. But to your question, yeah, it's been pretty much business as usual. Todd texted me back in early July and said, "Hey, I want to let you know I'm retiring after this year." And I said, "Does the rest of the world know this?" He goes, "A few people know it." He goes, "But I want to keep it under wraps until we get to August at practice time and do this." And I said, "Okay, how you think your guys are going to respond to this?" And he said, "We'll go about it like we do every other year." And it is from his perspective that way. But I will tell you, listening to Cade Klubnik and some of his other, high-profile student athletes they say they kind of like the fact that the seniors feel like they're going out with him. It's like he's an extended member of the senior class. And they all want to win for him one more time and make it 3 in a row to make him, I guess, the first coach to have a 3-peat at 2 different schools. So I think that means an awful lot to them to have an opportunity for that.
You mentioned that you're going to be calling the game on Texas Football Days live on Bally Sports Southwest, the Battle of the Red Rail between Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage, live 7:30 p.m., 6:30 pregame on Bally Sports Southwest. It'll be you and Gary Reasons on the call, and I know you mentioned you've been talking with Kirk Martin there at Colleyville Heritage and Grapevine's Mike Alexander. I'm interested from your perspective. What are these coaches saying as far as what the keys to this game are going to be? Because I'll be honest, in my research on this game, it seems pretty evenly matched, and especially when you throw in all the external factors like the week 1 and the big crowd and the rivalry, it seems like this could go any which way.
Yeah, and you know what adds to the intrigue, Tep, is that both coaches are going to use more than one quarterback. Both coaches have said not necessarily that it wasn't because one quarterback was able to separate himself from the other, but in both cases, they feel their quarterbacks bring different gifts to the party. There's a little more of the run pass, the RPO game with one quarterback, and one's the better thrower, and that's the case in both. And they feel like they get an awful lot out of both quarterbacks. So you got that. Then of course you got to have a guy like Caleb Tejada in the backfield for Grapevine that's going to be important for them. And one thing that I'm really going to be watching is the Heritage defense, in specific the linebacking core, where they had just absolutely crazy tackle numbers in a 9-game season last year. I mean, Chris Knight, the middle linebacker, I think had 128 tackles, had 6 sacks, and all this kind of stuff in 9 games. So they've got weapons on the defensive side. Grapevine's got some of those as well. And hey, a little bit of a rivalry thing, and it's one of several really good matchups. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but this week one, maybe it's because of coming out of COVID and everything, but this particular week one seems to have more really intriguing opening week matchups than I can remember a week one having. I mean, normally there's always 2 or 3 good ones, and we usually have one on our Texas Football Days telecast. But I mean, it's chock full if you're talking Denton, Ryan, Longview, obviously South Lake, Carroll, Highland Park, Westlake, Temple. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. You go on and on and on with all these big matchups, and there's just a passel of them this year, and I think that just adds to the intrigue.
Well, in one of those games, talking with Craig Way, the Hall of Famer here on Texas Football Today, get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. One of those games you didn't even mention is a cross-regional matchup as one of the very best teams in DFW, Arlington Martin, make the trek down Austin way to take on one of the very best teams in Austin, in Lake Travis. And it'll be the debut of Caleb Burton, Lake Travis receiver there, and it seems to me, in my first glance at this game of Lake Travis versus Arlington Martin, is what a great test for this revamped Lake Travis attack than going up against an Arlington Martin defense that is always good, and you also know that Bob Wager is going to have his boys juiced up and ready to go and hand the homestanding Cavaliers a loss. This feels like a real great litmus test for both these squads.
And both head coaches love this matchup. It's almost like, where have you been all my life in terms of non-district play? They've been looking for a meaty non-district matchup, and since they played a couple of times already, and they couldn't play last year because of the pandemic, but because they've played in the past before, they really enjoy it. They feel like the programs are similarly styled and similarly put together. Caleb Burton has been. I had Hank Carter on my show yesterday talking about it, and of course, both these head coaches are, have incredible praise for one another and what they've done, and it's a lot of fun. I do think what Coach Wager's got going with his defense is going to be a really nice test for what Bo Edmondson is going to be doing at quarterback there for Lake Travis, and then obviously having Caleb Burton. And not that Hank Carter was downplaying Caleb Burton's prospective contributions to the offense. He wasn't doing that at all, but he's got some other weapons, and he was listing the other weapons, and it's like, oh yeah, and Caleb too. So that's why I think this is a really good matchup.
And finally, Craig, I'm going to put you on the spot because there were, by our count at TexasFootball.com, of the 1,083 UIL member schools, there were 223 coaching changes. So a cool 1 out of every 5 changed coaches this offseason. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to make you pick one. Which of those 223 UIL 11-man coaching changes are you most interested in seeing how it shakes out in the early going?
Certainly Eric Peavy going to Little Cypress, Mauriceville from Beaumont Westbrook is one that does draw a lot of attention. Also, only because it kind of happened in my backyard, Rodney Vincent leaving a 6A program in Vista Ridge to go to Shallow Water. That's got a lot of interest in it, too. So I think that's it. And then Carl Absack leaving Cedar Park for Barbers Hill. I think that's another one. And I know we were doing this the other day, Tep, when we did the preview show about interesting coaching changes, and it largely pared down to coaches coaching going down in classification, but some going up in class also are like they always are, fun to watch. So you're right. That's another thing, along with the intriguing games, all of these coaching moves that happened. And I think COVID and the pandemic probably had a little bit to do with that as well. So I'm keeping an eye on a lot of them, as you are also.
He's Craig Way. He's the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. Joins us every Tuesday here on Texas Football Today. You can hear his dulcet tones on the horn in Austin, and of course, hear him call Grapevine versus Colleyville Heritage on Bally Sports Southwest, the Battle of the Red Rail, 7:30 p.m. Friday night on Bally Sports Southwest. Craig, appreciate your time, and give my best to your lovely fiance, and we will talk to you soon.
We're going to do that. Pickle, where are you getting scattered to for the opening week this
Paso,
week? Where?
Burgess, and Canutillo. I'm going out to the 915.
That's getting scattered. That's good. That's good out there. 40's Mexican Elder Restaurant, fine place.
Okay.
You want to have you a good Mexican meal there.
There he is. Craig Way, appreciate you, my friend.
Bye, Craig.
All right, see you guys.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.